Welcome to Twisted Monday, where we are cleaning up the rare few remaining storylines that I haven't played through in Twisted Metal Black. Who remains? Well, there's the People's Hero and Spectre. Spectre, always one of my least favorite vehicles to play as, but you know, it's fine. We're still playing Twisted Metal Black at the end of the day, so it can't be that bad. Let's take a quick look at her bio. All the way towards the end, because of course, characters are segregated by gender. The ladies are all the way crammed at the end of the character list. We got Bloody Mary, an odd girl out during school. Mom always assured her she was just a late bloomer, but those pleasantries didn't help her much. Her first love was in grade school. Nervously, she told the boy of her feelings for him. She'd been working up the courage for months. She poured out her heart and soul. His response couldn't have been worse. "I wouldn't kiss you in a million years, you ugly fat cow." With a shove, he pushed Mary into a pile of mud. Hurt and outraged, she knew she had to punish him. After that, she was never the same again. That is another one of those backstory things that is part of the cut storyline. As I recall, we'll talk more about that when we see the uncut storyline that's actually in the game. And while she was at one of her friend's weddings, Bloody Mary ripped off the bride's brand new sports car and escaped unnoticed. Very stealthy, that Bloody Mary. No one noticed anything she did while she was at that wedding. Never you worry. The special attack is a screaming, fiery missile that locks onto its target. That's not very special at all. Once target lock-on is achieved, the missile will burrow underground and through walls to relentlessly reach its target, with a signature screaming sound. So the ghost missile is not ghostly in this game. This game is far too realistic. It burrows through walls, it doesn't just pass through them, the way previous Spectre incarnations do. So, speaking of her story, let us begin to watch the many cutscenes in Bloody Mary's morbid tale.
First time I knew I was different, I was just a little girl. There was this boy I really liked. One day I finally got up the courage to tell him. He pushed me down in the mud. He called me ugly. I've been alone ever since, always waiting and hoping for that certain someone to come my way. I remember right after college, all my friends with their perfect boyfriends and their society weddings. Every time one of those bitches got hitched, I'd freak. Eventually, they had to put me on meds just to calm me down. But then one day, in the asylum, I had a visitor. The gentleman's name was Calypso. He said if I won his game, I'd never have to be alone again. He said he knew where I could find my true love. How could I refuse an offer like that? After all, no one as pretty as me deserves to be alone.
One grade school bully, and Bloody Mary has never recovered. But why, oh why, is she bloody? I don't think the fall did that to her. Very excited to meet a man who will love her. All we have to do is kill numerous other men along the way. And 2 women. Because there are only 3 female characters in the game, and Mary's one of them. So, the vehicle, Spectre, doesn't offer a ton. Not very high damage output. Our special is the Ghost Missile. It deals fine damage, but compared to a lot of other specials, it feels pretty weak. So we're going to rely on skill-based pickups and stuff. Stuff that I normally use as a backup when I'm out of specials will instead be a primary source of everything. Fortunately, I do know the game pretty well, so I can make up for the shortcomings that I consider Spectre to have. Wouldn't be surprised in the least if Spectre were anyone's like favorite vehicle. I know Spectre does tend to be well liked in other Twisted Metals. I don't hear a lot of love for it in Twisted Metal Black, but I'm sure there is some. The thing about the special is you absolutely have to be locked on, or it will not hit. And it's one of the more finicky lock-ons of any missile in the game, weirdly enough. You sort of have to just make absolutely certain someone is directly in front of you when you fire it. Gotta pay very close attention that a reticle has turned red, or you're wasting a very valuable attack. And even if you do everything right, if the enemy passes by a destructible object while they're being targeted by the missile, it will explode on that object instead, wasting it. And sometimes the AI is impossibly good at swerving at the exact right angle that will allow them to also avoid getting hit with the Ghost Missile. That admittedly is uncommon, but it is definitely going to happen multiple times throughout this playthrough. And I will be annoyed by it every single time. Typically, I save my Ghost Missiles until I have someone at very low health and they try to run away, because they probably will not outrun the Ghost Missile, and thus will die. And it is like the hardest part of any aspect of combat is getting the final hit on an enemy when they switch to self-defense mode. Tend to find it to be pretty difficult to land the Ghost Missile in that exact circumstance, though. That is when I am most likely to whiff it. Here we go. Get some extra pickups. Using terrorism. Maybe we'll even get the miracle plane kill. Kaboom. All these playthroughs, still haven't seen the plane land on anybody. And I highly doubt I ever will. But we'll keep trying. There's still one more run. There's where Yellow Jacket used to live. I want my weapons bay full, that's for sure. Oh, I have a ton. Gas cans. Gas cans are great. Somewhat hard to deliver as this vehicle, though, because I especially like delivering them up close. This vehicle is terribly ill-suited for getting up close. Sorry, Connor Rose. No manslaughter. Just, we're skipping manslaughter. Never gonna happen. But thank you for the cheer. Manslaughter is inevitable. Can't put it off much longer, that's for sure. Hey! Blasted through the window. I always feel like every other vehicle can bully Spectre. Can't really return the favor. In practice, I found Shadow particularly to be a huge problem. Bit of lucky timing there. Yellow Jacket's shield ended at the exact moment that I fired my ghost missile. And they're dropping like flies. Health refill, thank you. Can I get this thing? I actually can. I was all ready to say, absolutely not. Figured Shadow was gonna come my way. Somehow the AI knew I was charging an impossibly powerful attack. I don't think that is Shadow, right? Yeah, that's Axel. Very similar colors to their triangles. It's weird that that's something that I know so well at this point. Which colored triangle relates to which vehicle? Such that the handful of colors that are very, very similar really confuse me. Oh, Axel killed by the environmental, leaving only Brimstone to get murdered by ghost missiles. I have a lot of inventory left over as I move on to the next level. Anyone have a strong preference for where we're headed next? Because I don't care. Spectre is equally good at both levels. In fact, Spectre is equally good at basically every level in this entire game. So far, a consensus on Freeway. Happy to indulge. Excellent choice. Getting into the abusive backstory on Bloody Mary, we're gonna actually get a pretty disturbing story. So that's fun.
Who doesn't love an ice cream cone?
Well said, Sweet Tooth. And thank you, Desidue. Always appreciate the support. Especially in the still technically fundraiser mode that I'm in. Ultimately, though, we're good for funds. Wheels are in motion. Everything's looking good. Gotta start spending these weapons. Really surprised Shadow has not hit me with the ghost thing that she has. Since we have 2 female characters, 3 total in the game, but 2 of them have ghost-themed attacks. This is one of the few games where you actually have to hit the fire button as part of the rear fire combo. Making it just that much more difficult to do it on any sort of precise timing. Typically, you would expect Darkseid to rear fire the special when I'm that close to her. She opted not to. Doing a lot of fancy evasions and stuff right now, which are moderately difficult and made easier by the specific statistics of Spectre. So don't let me complain too much about this vehicle. It's one of my least favorite, but it is perfectly viable. It's not like it's underpowered or anything. Axel and Brimstone are definitely worse. And frankly, I enjoy them more. For no good reason. Just personal preference. Did not stand a chance of getting the satellite missile in anyone's face there. Beautiful. And Darkseid's still alive somehow. This is what ghost missiles are for. However, this level is actually ill-suited to the usage of ghost missiles, because all of the random civilian vehicles will absorb the ghost missile. And that is very likely to happen, because they're absolutely everywhere. It's definitely fair to say that I'm responsible for the upcoming Twisted Metal revival. Single-handedly. Definitely not the benefactor of the just improbable timing of the series coming back. Nope, I did it. No self-preservation on poor Brimstone. Got overconfident because he had a skill-based weapon, but not quite enough skill to actually use it. Guess I'll go for a health refill. Never hurts to top off. When you're in the red. Obviously, going for the health refill while you're still in green probably would be a bit of a waste. They are really stacked up here. Not good for my fragile-ass car. But I finally emptied my inventory. I still have another recharge waiting for me. So almost dying in that grand melee was totally worth it. Axel gives me one last bounce. Mr. Grimm, I'm not worried about. Maybe I should be. Yep, as soon as I say I'm not worried about him, he gets me with zoomy missiles right in the face. He can deliver those things. right to your door. Which tends to be pretty brutal. Let's get a few more weapons. If I don't die, they should carry over to the next level. Maybe I'll need them. Got frozen, but I've got a special with Grimm's name on it. Grimm's indicator is the color of a lock-on. So if you need to get him with the ghost missile, there's no in-game way of knowing that you're actually doing so. Which can be a bit of a problem, given how finicky the lock-on is. Downtown highway loop, once again. Spectre, perfectly, evenly suited to both levels. Let's see. Downtown does tend to be the most popular one out of these two. Oddly enough. We have a split vote for down loop. We'll play them both eventually, but highway loop did get slightly more love. We'll make up for that in the bonus content. Awful nice of our protagonist here to simply stay pretty forever. Uh-oh, that was a close one. If I had been hurled just slightly harder than I was, I would have gone over the edge of the bridge. And I believe we saw when I played as Axel recently. You go over that bridge, you are dead. Oh, Axel is invincible. Perfect. Take my one recharge now. Probably take some deaths. Maybe not, though. There's a lot of health refills in this very small level. So even when things go really, really badly, as they have so far, there's still the potential to recover your health. Missing out on that potential, though. And you need a lot of health refills because virtually nothing for each one. One of the cool design touches in this level that we rarely get to appreciate is that there is a turbo refill spaced basically so that you can grab a full turbo every time your turbo meter runs out, if you just boost all the way around this entire level. So there's almost no reason not to be turboing at any given time, because you'll hit a refill right as you're running out. These Zumi missiles would potentially be pretty powerful. But I am not doing so hot on HP, so I can't be too picky. There's a free shot being totally worthless. And zoomies also being totally worthless. Thanks for stopping by, Wavy Chew. So I'm pretty far behind on this level so far. Done a bit of damage. It's arguably inadequate. I would want a few kills at this point, given the choice. Ah. They both went the exact same route that I did. Shadow being an absolute nightmare. Ridiculously deadly, that Shadow. And she's all over my case, too. There was finally a wasted special from no adequate lock-on. I try to snap fire it, because it's so reliable. And don't have a lot of good luck. Missiles seem to be in favor of Sweet Tooth there. So they did not kill him, despite how many I landed. I assume that was a choice on their part. Maybe I'll try and snipe him from across the level. Since I really can hit him from any distance with the Ghost Missile. Didn't quite do so, but he's dead anyway. Another one down. Still miles behind on my kill count. And my missiles keep swerving away from being useful. Ooh, here's a good victim. Five more like that, and we'll be all set. Careful, do not throw yourself over the edge. Bah! Got axled. Just a wall of enemies. Well, that couldn't have gone worse, so let's see if it goes any better. Sweet Tooth's almost dead already. That's not even close to true, but he's beaten up. That should almost get him. Finish him with a ghost. Just get him off the playing field. He's too dangerous to live. And he knows it. Axeful power indeed. Reticles are so worthless in this level as to be absurd. Very, very bad luck to get dealt a reticle at the skill-based pool. I tend to waste my satellites as well, but that's my own fault. Clearly gas cans are what I want and need. And have used up. Because I like them too much. Middle fingers up if you want to get twisted. I haven't played that song in my multiple completions of Twisted Metal 2012. What a shame. Because I keep skipping the credits, because right before that song they play the entirety of Dragula. You play that song, your video gets blocked worldwide, so... Not worth the risk. Or the live editing that I would have to do to avoid hearing Dragula. Blow them up. Because of the way the energy moves work, you do have to stand perfectly still for a little while in order to fire one off. Axle down. So already the numbers are way, way, way better than they were last time. I have absolutely no idea if my ghost missile did anything there. I assume it didn't. Seemed like it got wasted. Repent. Ooh, gas can. Now to survive long enough to use it. Hurtling towards shadow is not conducive to survival, as we know well. One of the nice things is that hitting civilian cars typically still adds to the hit count on Zoomy missiles. And therefore firing Zoomy missiles into a crowd of civilian cars that happens to have an actual enemy in the crowd can pay off. I am at such severe risk of getting hurled over the edge that I can't believe it hasn't happened yet. Looked like that hit Outlaw while he was flying through the air. Just accept the inevitability of my own death and try and deal as much damage on my way out as possible. Make myself everyone else's problem. Take down Grim before I go. Now how can I die? Death itself has been destroyed. Ah, taking a breather. Not for very long. Stop breathing. Ten out of 10. Fine, I'll use the special. He's just gonna outrun everything else. There we finally go. Ready to come back and finish off everyone else. By which I apparently mean just one enemy. Did someone fall off? I thought there were 3 enemies left when I died. Odd. I'll take it. Now we're going into Minion boss fight. Feeling like I should have a little more ammo for that. So I'll take a few laps. As soon as my special regenerates, I will use that to finish this off. There. Even got to see it happen. Beautiful. Here we go. Generic loading screen dialogue. Rare moment of clarity for our disturbed protagonist. So far, I've had a lot of success with my hyper-aggressive way of dealing with Minion. But a lot of that does come down to luck. So we might actually see a game over here. Would not surprise me. Last panel, though. Yeah, shield down. Can't ask for much more than that. I'd say his odds of success are very low at this point. Actually went a bit smoother than usual. I did not expect to take out the rear panel quite so easily. Yep. He gone. Cutscene time.
I was asleep for hours, dreaming about weddings. In fact, one very special wedding. I was one of the bridesmaids as usual. My friend Kristen, she was the one getting married. Can you believe what she did? She actually had the nerve to throw the bouquet to me, that little bitch! Looking back, I'm not sure it was such a good idea to come off my medication.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary. You're just an ugly fat cow.
I think that day, my heart just snapped in two, and I think my mind did the same. So I grabbed the closest thing I could find, and then I wasn't really sure what I did. If I wasn't going to have a man, then no one was. I dragged Kristen's fat, ugly body into one of the dressing rooms and bolted the door. Standing there in Kristen's dress, I realized I was the most beautiful bride I had ever seen. When I win this contest, Calypso will find me a man who thinks so too.
So that's the wedding where Mary got Spectre. Hey, extra money for not dying during the minion fight. Glorious. Might as well save unlocking that cutscene. It's true. Kristen's parents will be thrilled at Mary's wedding, which they will definitely be attending. This level's probably going to be especially rough for Spectre here. Maybe not. Maybe we'll be able to snipe enemies from a great distance. But it said Mary was able to steal the Spectre vehicle, which I guess she later souped up into a killing machine, without anyone noticing. She impaled the bride and then stole her dress and is still wearing it to this day. I feel like people probably noticed everything she did along the way. Maybe they were just being polite. Okay, gates are opening. Get a chance to heal. Up. Nail in that turn. And where's the turbo pickup? It's gotta be around here somewhere. Really thought it was in the top level. And I survived the cage fight, which is a pretty good start. There's the turbo pickup. One thing I noticed that they keep repeating. It's in Mr. Grimm's ending, I think? It's in one of his cutscenes. It's in the game manual, as written by No Face. And of course, we just heard Bloody Mary say it's Spectre's driver. He said the line, my mind bent so much it snapped in two. Then we find out that the plot of this game is that it all takes place inside of Sweet Tooth's mind. However, Sweet Tooth is Marcus Kane. Sweet Tooth is a split personality. He is Marcus's mind split in two. So that is actually, I think, clever foreshadowing to the sort of twist of the Minion storyline. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. But if that is what they were going for, that's really cool. I never even really noticed that recurring motif. But it's a good fit if that's what they were going for. It is actually a little unclear if this game even intended for Sweet Tooth to be Marcus's split personality. It seems like that is the case, and it is later confirmed by Head-On. But Head-On has some weird interpretations of everything. Perfect use of the special. It's automatic. How can you even miss with the ghost missile? I've found a way. There's all sorts of health refills up there that I need. And there's Sweet Tooth. You heard I was talking about him. Wasn't even saying anything particularly bad. But he still came to murder me. Doesn't want me revealing the truth of his identity. I honestly don't know the origin of Minion's story. I've heard a lot of the other aspects of how the story in this game was written, but I've never heard anyone really explain why Minion had weird encoded text cutscenes only. Obviously a cost-saving measure. 8 months of subscriptions from Rio Dice. Glorious. Would not appreciate that much more. All the support does go a very long way. Okay, apparently Minion's cutscenes were just sort of slapped together without much of a thought to what they would mean. Just to get something of a story. I mean, it does feel that way when you actually bother to translate them. And in the PS2 era, back when this game came out in 2001, digital cameras basically didn't exist. Game recording technology was extremely primitive. Most people did not have access to it. So, actually getting the loading screens translated was a monumental task that most people did not have the technological capability to actually do. I didn't at the time. But I was able to find other people who had translated it. Even back in 2001. And learned what it said. Actually using the blimp attack. That's something I don't do very often. And roadkill down. Still a little light on kills. Ah. Almost exploded right before I got my health refill. Which we've seen happen way too often. How are they both still alive? Unacceptable. Thank you for making up for your rudeness in not dying sooner. Well, little anticlimactic. I was trying to bring the bridge down. Should have paid more attention to the whizzing sound behind me, indicating satellite missiles rapidly approaching. Still actually doing okay as far as numbers, assuming that the remaining 3 enemies are not all at full maxed out HP. But I have no recharges, which is very, very dangerous for Spectre. Because the HP pool is very, very, very shallow. And die super quickly as this character. Shadow hates me. I'm standing still for a second when Shadow is around. There goes all my health. He'll just juggle me forever. It's brutal. Did expect this to be a very difficult level for this particular character. Flip attack does nothing, as always. Finally, the bridge is down. Reticle on the bridge is actually potentially very powerful. The enemies do sort of have to approach from one side or the other. Or they can just choose not to approach at all. Yeah, everyone's a million miles away. I can't use my reticle. I can harass them with ghost missiles. That's how they're gonna be. Yeah, their behavior suddenly got super non-aggressive. Right when I wanted them to be aggressive. So I'm trying to play it safe, since game over would be so costly at this point. The ambient music here is a remix of the title screen music I'm noticing for the first time. Which is especially cool. Beautiful. That was the most dangerous person. All that's left is Grim. Grim can also be very dangerous. He usually isn't, but he can be. When I'm at my most fragile, he is at his greatest potential to be dangerous. Few ghost missiles and he'd be dead, but I don't think I have any built up. I have a lot built up. He's so dead. I'm gonna drive away, make sure I can get a clean shot. And cheese him to death. Dodge this. Kinda feel bad for him. Yeah, that was incredibly rude, but had to be done. Not giving anyone a choice on that one. I will take the snowy roads. We will do the drive-in in the bonus content. It will be very difficult. As it always is. Plenty of people to get hit with the very loud environmental attack. Axel died. He probably fell over the edge. No probably to it, really. Tried to avoid the lighting. Overcompensated. So this level is great for using the reticle. Great for using the environmental. Great for using our ghost missiles. I almost matadored Darkseid over the edge. I mean, if I were playing as Darkseid, I would have gone over the edge there. But the AI just rarely does so. There's a skill pickup here. I always used to neglect, but it's actually quite useful. Let's go for this health refill. Very precarious shelf. Which kills me more often than not. Yep, that killed Outlaw. As expected. Got a bunch of ghosts built up. think I lured a special out of Sweet Tooth while there were like 4 enemies around. Which usually doesn't deal very much damage, but could have helped me out a little. I think it did. Wasted my special there. But with how well this level's gone so far, I can afford a little bit of a waste. Bad choice from the homing missile. Fortunately, I was hoping it would go and finish off Darkseid. It opted not to do so. And there's what I was expecting. That keeps happening. It happened a lot with Axel, where I would get a huge boost of momentum right when I did not want it. And off I go. With this vehicle, it is typically much easier to control. Crazy 8 fell off the edge of the world, leaving me with very few enemies to punish me. And very little HP between them. Needless to say, the drive-in theater would not have gone this smoothly. Even with me hurling myself over the edge. Very difficult to get on top of this building for most vehicles. Spectre's very well suited to it. So typically I just don't go up there. I can carry the environmental attack to the next level, where it will be useless. Or I can lure both of these enemies here, and it will kill them. Bam! Face the wrath of the gods. Wedding bells are a lot like police sirens. Symbolically, the way they tie you down. 80s humor. Why did everyone in the 80s hate their wives? Doesn't make any sense. Glad we are over that style of comedy. That is the place this game is coming from, though. Jaffe being firmly of the 80s. For how accurate our special is and how easy it is to land, it is quite powerful. You don't normally get a missile that does as much damage as the Ghost missile. So it's pretty solid. Still don't like it. Still prefer an attack that can, like, one-shot an enemy from yellow health. But it is perfectly well balanced. This playthrough certainly has not been torturous, even though I did sort of dread it. If I'd bullseyed with all of my gas cans there, Junkyard would have died outright. But I totally missed with one of them. There goes Brimstone. He'd be a good officiator for upcoming nuptials. If only we weren't about to kill him. We'll get the health refill off the easily missed platform over here. Which I did not even know about. Until very recently. We also get a little bit of knockback from the ghost missiles, which was almost enough to push Warthog over the edge. There's an example of what it looks like when you go over the edge. Been a long time since I got tempted to try and pass by the wrecking ball when I didn't have enough time. Used to make that mistake all the time. That might be a death knell for this particular attempt. But it's been going pretty well in every other way. I've used every recharge and killed 3 enemies. 3 is a relatively small proportion. Oh, that was my entire inventory. Guess I should go around the level, open up all the shortcuts, so that I can maneuver more easily. Oh, I still have another recharge. Never mind. We are doing just fine. Currently. It can still go awry. This boy is Spectre ever fragile. Ridiculously fragile car. Even as much as I like Mr. Grimm, this car feels more fragile most of the time. I'm pretty sure it isn't. But it's gotta be really close. Health refill on the bridge. Not gonna race the wrecking ball this time. Learn my lesson. Oh, and someone took down the billboard before I had the chance. Plenty enough of a charge to kill that guy. Only 3 enemies left. This level's kind of flying by. Another one down. Not many more where that came from. I think that's a roadkill right on my tail here. Where the hell is he? Oh, he dropped down the hole. Kind of a good move. He outsmarted me. Oh, someone died. Guess it was roadkill, somehow. That hasn't happened for me in a long time. Where an enemy actually just falls into the abyss. Not even pushed. Just gone. Now, it's possible that roadkill, like, actually flipped out of bounds or something. Seemed like he had a pretty solid foothold on what was going on. And then suddenly he was dead. Those sort of glitches do happen from time to time. They're very uncommon. This is a very solidly built game. Especially impressive considering it is nearly a launch title for the PS2. Not quite, but within a few months of the initial release of the PS2. Sort of like how the original Twisted Metal came out like a month after the PS2 or PS1 initially was released. What do I have for skill-based? Nothing. Okay, the reticle. I wonder if I can carry the reticle into the next level. Because you're not allowed to pick up reticles in the next level. I think they would be too powerful. So is this some kind of exploit that I have discovered? It's nice that enemies just straight up cannot avoid you, because your special can hit them from any distance. Wasn't quite enough to finish this particular opponent. I think he got a health refill. But he did not get a chance to do anything with his entire health bar.
You're in violation of Midtown City Code 4432. Step out of your vehicle and surrender peacefully. Time's up.
Final boss. This pig can't stand in the way of true love. You are correct. I got to keep my reticle. This is unique. I just need to keep it until the boss shows up, or becomes vulnerable. It's already showed up, that's for sure. I don't know if it will actually be ridiculously overpowered to have a reticle here. Okay, tanker's ready to blow. So it has. Unfortunately, this is like one of my worst vehicles, so I got annihilated immediately. Totally wasting my chance to see what a reticle would even do on this boss. What the hell is going on? I did not think I was that fragile. But yeah, as far as vehicles with low HP and large hitboxes, Spectre faces some challenges when playing this game, it turns out. I honestly don't know how he had that much damage piled up on us that quickly. This is mostly a gimmick boss fight, and so is Minion for that matter. But if the gimmick goes well here, you'll tend to have a pretty easy time. And if it doesn't, you won't. Finally, the tanker got in position, but I died again. I cannot withstand the second in front of Warhawk. And the tanker won't get anywhere near the platform. I've never seen the tanker this badly behaved. This is going extremely badly. one more hit to do on the shield. I think that's way too far outside the radius. Nope, it was perfect. Almost got pushed over the edge. Glad I didn't. But I can just get exploded in a matter of seconds here, so. My special did not work. And it's currently flying into the sky, despite getting a pretty clean lock on. Let's try this again. There we go. Plenty more special where that came from. We should have this. Yeah, the satellite ought to do this. No problem. It's nice that they made it basically impossible for either of the bosses to heal themselves during the boss fight. Because that would be a bit annoying. But there we go. Fairly rough fight. It is over. A-cab. True love wins.
I'm sure there were quite a few sour faces in town when all the girls learned I'd won the contest. I demanded my prize from Calypso. I wanted to meet my true love. Calypso delivered. It was my darling, my sweetheart, and he was gorgeous. Calypso told me he had to make a few modifications, but what man doesn't need a little adjusting here and there? As he held me in his big, strong arms, he leaned to whisper something in my ear. To this day, I still can't believe what he said.
I will never love you.
My God, I was so close. But this wasn't my true love at all. He wasn't anything like the man I thought he was. Certainly not good enough for a girl like me. My Prince Charming is out there. I know he is. I'll find him. Even if I have to go through each and every man, one at a time.
So that guy who had his brain surgeried was supposedly the kid who bullied her and pushed her in the mud when she was in grade school. Oh, can't have that. So, it's not very clear. I never got that impression. And I think the game just froze. Weirdly enough. But no true love for poor Spectre. And it broke the game. Fortunately, it did allow me to save at the end there. So we still get credit for completing the entire game. Which means only one character remains. When I complete the game with that character, I will unlock Minion a second time. So I'm just going to reset the game here. That was ultimately a pretty solid run. Relatively few deaths. Spectre doesn't have a lot of damage output, so it went a little longer than usual. But not that long. I've certainly had much, much worse runs. And it was relatively fun, all things considered. Speaking of it going too long, I'm just gonna vamp for the, 2 minutes that it takes to load into this game. Will be nice not to have to boot up the PS3 to be playing Twisted Metal Black in the future. But also speaking of the future, we are just about to go through and play the 3 levels that I skipped during the main playthrough. There's a little bit of Paint It Black for you, just enough, I hope. And proof of our victory. All cutscenes unlocked and saved. Stick around for the bonus content coming up in just a moment. I am Fiendly, and I thank you for watching Twisted Monday.